Joining us now is Dan Eberhart. He's the CEO of Canary, LLC. He is also part of America First Policies and their team, and he is joining us now. Dan, good to have you with us, Dan.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So, Dan, the Democrats and the legacy media, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, CNN, many others, they're saying, look, this corporate tax cut is a giveaway to rich companies and shareholders. They're just going to take their money and give it to their stockholders and CEOs and in the form of bonuses, and they're not going to do anything with the money, and it's all a big giveaway for the rich. How do you respond to that?
Well, I don't think that's completely true at all. I think for us, one of the reasons that I've really been pushing for this tax reform is the 100% expensing measure. I think is a strong incentive for companies like mine to invest in capital equipment to try to grow. So I think that's one thing. I think also the repatriation feature is a strong incentive for big companies to bring money back to America. When right now, a lot of people don't know this, but companies like Apple, GE, Coca-Cola, and others, their foreign profits stay over there because our tax rates are so high, they just never bring it back. Well, if we can incentivize them to bring that money back and invest in America, I think that's a good thing.
So the way I understand the repatriation end of this particular bill, Dan Eberhart, is that we're going to do two things. Number one, depending on whether you're a brick and mortar retail or money, right, we're going to give a one-time incentive to get some of this back at a much lower rate. And then secondly, if you're a U.S. company, you're going to have to pay in January, starting in 2018, you're going to have to pay U.S. taxes regardless of where you park your money. So it's like there's no more incentive to keep it in Paris or Brussels or Cayman Islands, right? Because you have to pay taxes on it. You might as well take it to the U.S. and turn it into something. And there's also the one-time incentive. Is that your understanding of how this works?
Yeah, that's my understanding of how this works. I think that, and I think it's a strong incentive or a strong reason that will create economic growth here at home, and I think that's a huge benefit for everybody.
So tell me a little bit more about Democrats are saying that the corporate tax cut, all that money will just go in the hands of the rich. How do you respond to that, Dan?
Well, something like 40% of the equity in the stock market is held in middle-class folks' pensions and 401ks. So, I think that everybody across America has got a strong interest in the stock market doing well and in these big companies doing well. Whether you know it or not, an awful lot of your 401k or pension plan is invested in these blue-chip American companies. And so I think everybody across Main Street has a strong incentive for those companies to do well. It affects their family and their future and their retirement.
There's no question this idea that you do a corporate tax cut and the money just disappears into paper bags or something is one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard, but that's what some of the opposition is saying. Dan, you're the CEO of Canary, LLC. Tell us a little about your company and what impact this tax cut is going to actually have on your own company.
Sure. So we're a medium-sized company. We've got sales in the very, very low nine figures, about 300 people across the U.S., 25 locations. And we're basically the guys with trucks that do stuff for the oil and gas companies. So
how will this tax cut impact your company, and how will that translate into economic growth?
Sure. Well, one I think that the doubling of the standard deduction and the lowering of the income tax rates, I think are good for the people I work with and good for America in general. But for Canary, I think the expensing provision is a good incentive for us to invest in new equipment, and that will hopefully lead to our company growing and needing to create new jobs. I mean, that's my hope.
Well, one of the provisions is that if we do this, that companies are going to hire more workers. And, of course, labor is the biggest expense, as you know, that any company has. So why are you confident, Dan, that this is going to translate into hiring more workers?
Well, I think every company's natural inclination is to grow, and I think to grow you need more people. And if your profitability is a little bit better and the government grab into your pocketbook is a little bit less, then you've got a little bit more money to spend to focus on growth. And I think that this, coupled with the low unemployment, the 2 consecutive quarters of 3% growth, and the rising stock market is all part of this kind of Trump push to grow the economy right now.
All right.
It appears to be working to me.
Look, we're getting 3% growth now. That's only because of the optimism, the dismantling of the administrative regulatory state, and other things that the president is doing. You add this tax cut to it, it's going to be Katie bar the doors. Hey, I'm out of time for this segment. I want to thank Dan Eberhart for being with us. Also, Dan, people want more info on you or your company. Where do they go?
Sure. So you can follow me on Twitter at DANEBERHART, or our company is canaryusa.com. And our tagline is Unleashing America's Energy.
All right, fantastic. Dan, thanks for being with us today, and we look forward to an economic revitalization and resurgence in America, Dan. Thank you.